started. This is the Blended Learning Roundup. It's our last session for the school year. Just a caveat, we are going to have paid PD next year as well. They gave us an extra $8,000, so we're going to use that for sessions during the school year. That was, originally we had to spend all of our PD by the end of this year, but they gave us another $8,000 that we could use as PD next year as well. Some of that they want me to go to a couple conferences as the rep, and I don't know if I'm going to go to those or not, but we'll see. One thing that I wanted to bring up before we get going, and I'm logged on as Joy. If you haven't ever looked here, you should, because I'm going to do a PD certificate for everybody in the high school. So if you're logged on to the blended tablet thing, and you go down on the right-hand side where it says attendance, it says how many things you've taught, how many ones that you've attended and done the project, how many ones you've attended or assisted, how many ones you've just done the project, and if you hit the in detail, it takes you here and it shows you, and this is what not only should you have gotten paid for, but it also corresponds to the number of hours and what I'm going to put on everybody's certificate. So everybody's going to get a printout for CEU/PD credit, and so hers would say that she was at the Everett section and attended that. She was the Moodle session, she attended it and did the project. She Moodle assignments, attended that one. The apps when she attended and did the project, they had scaffolding attended, so you get the ID, okay? So, and attended or assisted means that if you weren't the teacher, you were assisting to teach it, so you got a stipend for that, and that really falls into those teachers that aren't directly with the high school grant. So, if you see something on there that you're like, I know I did the project on that, please email me and I'll check. Now, it's possible that I just didn't update this, because sometimes if you did the project way after, I might have paid you the stipend, but not remember to come back in here and update it. So please make sure you check that so that you get credit for what you've actually done. I don't want anybody to not get credit for what they did in the class, okay? So really what today is supposed to be a sharing time, that each of us share at least one thing, and the other class that I do on the 14th for those teachers who are going to be in today, I'm just going to clip the two together as one PD video and post it on YouTube there. So I like everyone, and I will start with one that I've done that I like, that's relatively new, that we just added on the Moodle after E-Tech. So I'd like everybody to share not only a lesson, but any problems they've had, or any hopefully successes they've had, anything that worked out really well. I'd love to hear that. I actually have to turn in a report to E-Tech saying any success stories we have, so some ideas on success stories would be great. So I'm going to go and I'm going to show two of my classes and two different lessons that I did, but they're both the same and they're both new as far as Moodle capabilities. And if you haven't watched the PD one we did on Moodle Books, that's what this one is. Both these lessons are over using the Moodle Books module, which is new. We just learned about Moodle Books at the E-Tech conference this year, so it's something we just taught a lesson on. And what a Moodle Book is if you look on my hardware class, and you go to this section, I'm going to drop down and go to student use, you can see, I used to have, on my section of video cards, I used to have a whole bunch of separate links that, hey, I want you to read this, or I want you to read that, can you go and read this article? Because for me, my textbook was 2 years out of date the day I got it. And I literally got my textbook and it's got stuff that hasn't been in computer hardware for years. So I use a lot of links and videos in my class for reading. Well, I had this big kind of mess of links and stuff on this section. So I tried the book, and this is basically what it is. So book is you could put everything together. I like to think of it more as a chapter, because I think if you get too much, you get started confused. So I'm going to show you, this is a Moodle book that I assigned them on video cards. And basically the way it works is, it builds just like any other Moodle copy and paste box. It's really easy to build, but in here you've got kind of the chapters on the side that the kids go down and read the separate sections, and you can link in YouTube, you can have it linked to outside stuff. So in the overview I talked about it, and this is an edited copy and paste straight out of Wikipedia. Okay, so I took Wikipedia, I left the links in there, so if the kids go and say, I don't know what an expansion card is, it's going to take them to the Wikipedia section. But I did edit it to take out stuff I didn't want them to read, any extra stuff. So I copy and pasted it in here, and then same thing, talk about the two major manufacturers, they have to read through those. I've got a YouTube integrated video in here, and this was a do-it-your-own pace assignment that I gave them. So, this one worked out really well. Because the assignment I gave them in the end actually worked out well for me. So, some of these are just videos. Some of them are really short, like, hey, you might want to look at two different cards by looking at this link, and it's an outside link that allows the student to say, hey, I want to compare this card with this card, which one's better, and it does a side-by-side comparison for them. And then there's a little video on how to install a card, so it's got more than one. And then at the end, and you can embed this anywhere in the lesson or in the book. So I'm already working on, I'll show you next year's advanced technology class, I'm going to use this to flip everything. So anywhere along here, I can link it to an assignment. In this case, it was after you read the whole thing. Reading your finished, you need to do this online assignment, and they click on it, and it goes to it. And the assignment was something that I found out I had more success with than any of the other assignments, because the assignment was to go on YouTube. And the assignment, if you read it, it's pretty simple. Find a YouTube video explaining how to pick the best video card, which is what this whole assignment was about. It should be less than 10 minutes. You should like it enough to watch it. Submit the YouTube link in the submission area below. Easy points if you look for a good one. And really what I've got them doing then is I've got them going to YouTube and watching a bunch of YouTube videos on their own time to find one that they like to submit. Okay, so it's kind of a tricky way to, instead of me saying, watch this video, which I did make them watch one, and I said you can't use the video that I already gave you, I get two things out of it. Number one, I got them to watch a bunch of videos, which they don't mind going and watching videos. Even though they're learning, I didn't tell them which video to watch, so it was okay for them. Because I didn't say watch this video. So, and number two, now I've got a couple better videos that I didn't even find that I can change the video inside there to be that one instead. So I get a list of better YouTube videos on that because I'm going to go and look. And then what I do is I got to go back to being the teacher here. I don't know why I can't. Am I not me right now? Because I should see the
Are you me?
assignment. Am I still you?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's because I'm viewing it as a student. Because I changed my student view. So if I return my normal role and go back to there. And it's nice because they can pop right through stuff. So if I go there now I can see the ones they submitted, and if I can just go through and watch their videos, it doesn't link right in, so I have to copy and paste that. But I can go and watch their videos and see which ones I liked and which ones I didn't like. So that's the Moodle book, and the act of assigning them to find YouTube videos on a subject, I actually heard at the eTech conference, and I thought I would try it on this one. And I got a bunch of different videos, and I got kids to watch a bunch of different videos on my material.
So did you make that worth more points than just like an assignment? Because
it was worth 20 points, and a typical, like, just do this is 10, and a typical test is usually worth 50.
Okay.
So somewhere in between. Because I know they spent more time on this one than other ones, and it really worked out well. I liked the way it worked. So that I've got the same thing. I'm actually working on bringing all of my content together in a book for my advanced tech class to have basically every flipped assignment that I would do all year long in one book. So I can just, they always know where they're going, and I can say, hey, I need you to watch the video tonight on laser printer maintenance. And they can just go down here, laser printer maintenance, and there's my embedded YouTube video right in the book. Now, it doesn't all have to be YouTube videos, but in this case, a lot of these, there's no way for me to teach them what I want them to know without it being my video. Learning how to pick out a video card, any tech person can teach them that. How I want them to actually go in and check the rollers on a laser printer, and I don't want them to watch somebody else's video on that, even if they could find it. And then, and some of these are student-created videos. what I had the students do is I said, hey, I want everybody to make a video on how to make a Cat5 cable. I did this with my tech class this year. And then the best video is the one that's going to be posted on my site. So this actually isn't even mine. It's student created video. And so they all did the task and they all had to do it and took video. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. You don't need to watch the video. So it's a 4-minute long or 3 minutes, 19 seconds. So a lot of these are actually student-made videos that I had to either pair up, they did it as a team to make one, or did it themselves. But it was easier, especially with this, with hands-on thing, if one person's doing the camera. And then I also had them with this do some that were, that they had to do voiceover on it later because the video was good, but the sound was terrible, so then they had to do some video editing with it. So I really like this book feature, and I also really like as a project along with this, have students be engaged with making the next one. So that's my share. And I know this module was really new, and in fact, Jonathan, I think, just watched it the other day and hadn't even known about it until he watched it. So that's mine. Does anybody have any questions on mine? I will tell you that my ones where I say watch this and do some quiz questions, I've done watch this video or do this online task and do quiz questions. I've done it where do an extended response on it, and I've done where they have to write a MLA paper on it. I had 100% success with the Find a YouTube video. That's the only one I've had 100% success on. And almost 100% is on the 100% success. Because I think they felt like they were in more control of the assignment, even though they were getting content just in a different way. The quiz ones, a lot of times, it'll be 2 weeks past when we did it, that they all of a sudden notice it, the grade book. They're like, what was that? I'm like, yeah. I sent you an email that you were past due on it too. I never checked that email. How do you not check it? It's right on your tablet. You push Gmail and it says on the bottom, 13 new messages on your tablet. So that was the one that I had the most success with. And I will say that the more often you do them, the more success I think you have. And when I do it once a month in tech, I have failure. Or when I do it once a week in hardware, I have more success. So, and that's, I think, why we looked at doing it once a week, because if it's not part of their routine, and I will say that I think it's even a good idea to say if you will always do a lesson on Friday. Will always be your Friday homework, will be a flipped lesson. Or a white day, something where you set it up so it's standard, so they're not going to, we have one this week? If it's always for the first day of the week, or it's always for Friday, I think it makes it kind of easier for me. That was what I had with my class. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right.
I had pretty much most of mine were videos with quiz questions.
Up, so
yeah. Here, you put mine up here. Never used this.
Well, you can sit down here and move Mr. Fisher. So it's just I'm recording it so other people can see that.
You with my finger here or with the
side taskbar.
Yeah, you just use the
taskbar. Okay.
Over here, and then I've actually already got up all the high schools. So you can just go to PE and then pick your whichever class you want to.
Let's see here. Taskbar like this.
Which one do you want? I'll assist.
Freshman PE. PE 1. Okay. Let's go, let's see, overhand serve. Okay. So basically what we did, I did most of mine like on flip lessons. So what I would do is have the students watch the video here. And I made sure it was a video that had like teaching cues, like simple, like phys ed. They don't want you to have really more than 4 teaching cues. So I focused on, trying to find a video that, was simple enough for them. So I have on here, list 3 steps. I usually had probably about 3 or 4 questions on these. I made them worth about 30 points. List the 3 steps of the serve, listed in the video. what part of the body should the ball be lined up with, just key things that they need to know. Where's the elbow in the beginning, the phase of the serve, just things that I wanted them the next day to be like, okay. I felt like the ones that watched the video and answered the questions, I felt like that I did feel like the process was a little bit, there wasn't a smoother process than just me breaking it down, and they could actually hear it from somebody else. I think that was probably a positive. A negative is like what Mr. Poole said, is like actually getting them to do it when you want them to do it. That to me is kind of been a crutch this semester. I do notice though, but I try to do them every week this semester, and I do notice that by doing that I do feel like that they at least know it's coming. So like today they have a baseball one. This is like their last one. I said, you got a baseball one, and the students were like, oh, okay, when's that due? I mean, I'm like, okay, it's going to be due on next Tuesday. And I usually try to give them at least 4 or 5 days to complete it, unless it was something like this that I needed it done. Try to get it done the night before. So that's probably the success stories I had. It's kind of a success story and kind of a learning lesson is, yes, watching the video is fantastic. Maybe I'll try next time to say and just watch the video, and that maybe you getting the credit for that versus like you said that versus having the quiz questions there. Maybe that might work a little bit better. Mixing that up to where sometimes put quiz questions and sometimes just have watch the video. But I felt like there was a smooth transition with that. But as far as getting these in on time, that would probably be my not so successful story. It was kind of hit and miss. It's really kind of 50-50. Like I noticed that my sophomores were a little bit better on getting them in. My freshmen, as the semester went along, they finally started, you can see them getting them in, and not only getting them in, but getting them in the day of. Like I have a kid that, I mean, it never fails. As soon as I assign it, he's emailing it to me that he's got it done. So I do have students that are getting it done, but the other type of assignment I had, if we can, how do I click off this?
Can I ask, how are they submitting the assignment to you? Is it an online thing, or is it?
It's single file.
Okay.
So I'm getting it that way. There's, and I also put my email on there because for some reason, even though the Moodle would have the section there where they should be able to, like this right here, to upload the file. Sometimes when I would do these, this part wouldn't be there. I don't know why, even though I would still see it.
Well, I think sometimes they're not logged on when they think they are.
That could be too.
Because a student sees the
Because
same
I
thing
also-
that a guest does, and if they
And
can't
that
see
could
the.
So I put on there my email as well, so they can email to me. I prefer it this way. That way I can see it, and then I can have them all on there, and it's a lot easier for me.
Do you ever do it as an online text that I mean, not that this is bad, and I'm asking this as a question. They wouldn't be able to submit to do this assignment on their tablet because there's no way they can upload something.
That is true. So that's where, now what were you getting ready to suggest?
Well,
there?
there's a double way to do this one too.
Okay.
Is that here? I'm gonna.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll let you, I gotta actually.
Okay. So when you built the assignment, and this is new that I didn't know how to do this before.
Yeah,
I'm
go
gonna be
ahead.
honest. So like, which one we were at?
We were on overhand search.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and open that in a new tab so I can show you what.
Okay.
Instead of doing the upload, I've been doing the advanced. I've been making all my new ones
Okay.
advanced, and
Okay.
the difference there is I'm gonna copy the whole
Yeah, go ahead.
thing to show you just the difference. So I'm just gonna. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so it was worth 20 points, so I'm just gonna. Okay, so when I make this, it's almost exactly the same, the process of making it.
Right.
But then down here, you've got your upload,
Yes.
and you say yes to notes.
Okay.
Okay, and let me see, where does it say that they can change their notes? Oh, and you want to change it to one file. So
Okay.
for all intents and purposes, once I save it and display it, I still have the same upload thing
Right.
there, but I also have the ability to do a note, which means they can do it either way now.
I got
They
you.
can either upload a file if they've got a PC at home they want to do it on,
Okay.
or they can click edit and type in the answer right there. So you've got one spot
Yeah,
that you
they
could
can
do
do that.
either kind.
Yeah.
And there's a third thing that I do on here. If they like to do it on Google Docs,
Right.
they can just paste the link to the Google Doc right there too. So that it makes it so they've got 3 submission options. They can upload, they can type it here, or they can just drop the Google Doc link in. And as far as I'm concerned, when I go to view the assignment, either I see a link to the document there,
Right.
or a link to the Google, or the text.
Or the text.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome. I did not know that.
it was a newer assignment way of doing it, and honestly, mine are all like yours.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, every time I get up to it, I go and say, oh, I need to change that
Yeah,
one.
switch that around.
Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, mine when I'm gonna put it up under there so you just remember where it is if you want to,
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm
fine.
gonna hide
Yeah.
it too so that they don't
Yeah,
get confused.
no problem.
But I'm trying to do that because some of the kids are saying that, well, I don't have whatever, but I can get to the
I get
Google
that.
Doc.
Right.
And if you can get to the Google Doc,
And
well,
that's where I was telling them to email me, because a lot of the Google Doc, I shared a Google Doc.
Right,
Because I didn't know.
and that allows
Yeah.
you to see them all in one place. And it's something that I haven't done with all of them. I've only got a couple changed over.
Yeah, I'll
See, it
do
didn't
that
take
for
a
now.
long time, but it's just, you've already got it. So
Now that I know that, I'll do that from now on. Yeah, that's I did not know that. So yeah, that's, like I said, that's pretty much a lot of ours in PE. Alan and Joy may have some.
You had another one I interrupted you on, Brandon, that you wanted to show. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. But basically, the other one that I was going to talk about was, if you scroll down further, there's a new one we did. I played around with, we'll get down to baseball down there. This is basically, just basically linking something and then the questions as well. So I've been playing with that too, which is not mind shattering or anything. It's not rocket science, but that's another way of of quizzing them as well, is linking the web page and then doing that. I've done that in a couple classes too. But really, flipped assignments is pretty much what I did mostly. And I also did a couple things where, let's see here. Let's see if I have one here. Yes. Like volleyball history. Write 150 words on history of volleyball. Kind of how you said, let's see what your history is on it. Let's see what you find versus me giving you a packet and and I don't try to do it to where it's super hard that they can't do it. Another one would be, let's see here. Here we go. Facts. And this one I did link it to a Google Doc. Let's go back.
We could sign in as Mr. Fisher.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we don't have to get to it, but basically what I did was find 15 facts. Anything about the sport that you find relevant, 15 facts. And what was cool about that was when I would go through them, there were things on there that I was like, wow, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? So it was cool to see them be able to go and look it up. And it was funny, we were playing ultimate frisbee one day here like a week ago. And Corey Zima was like, hey, it's 10 seconds, not 5. I was like, you got me. It was, the stall count. He's like, it's 10, not 5. I'm like, there you go. He's like, I did that in my 15 facts. I'm like, there you go. So they, even Mr. Cheney forgets every now and then, so it was funny to see the student correct me, and that was him relating that to the assignment. So that's basically what I did. So if anybody else has any questions or anything,
We would be able to use that too on people who, I didn't have the freshmen this year, but if they don't dress out.
absolutely. When they don't dress out, they've got their tablets and they're doing this. The first thing I say is, did I get that assignment from you? I know, because I can look it up real fast. I'm like, well, you didn't have that assignment done, so plug your tablet in and get working. And that's exactly, if you went down first block today, you'd see 4 kids that they had parent notes, but they still were working on those assignments. So yes, absolutely. So we do that most definitely. If they're not dressing, a lot of times they'll go, well, I don't have my tablet's not charged. I'm like, well, You got your charger? Yeah, well then go plug it in. There's outlets all over this gym, so.
You could
that's-
you could even have extra assignments on the side that
Oh,
no one has to
absolutely.
do. This is
Yeah.
I'm
I've
sorry you
done-
didn't bring
I-
your clothes. We have to go watch this video, do this paper.
I've done that
Nobody
before,
else
too.
has to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
you would think that
And
would
you
be.
don't get any points for it either.
Why did that? I did that at Barber Bush, and he's like, well, you knows how to do it? I'm like, no.
No.
You did.
Who's next?
I did.
You logging me in?
I think my alignment's slightly off, so that's why.
We
it's-
need one of these in the gym, don't we, Joy?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Really?
We get more creative with it. We're
Which one do you want me to go
I
to?
don't like
How's that semester?
This one?
Yep.
Because I like to run like all the way across, so like you can see what I'm doing, and I like.
Down to the CPR, yep, down, okay. I basically had them, they had to go in and, take this was supposed to be, homework, but, they did not do it. And then they said, my tablet's broken now, you know, I can't do it on my arm. And I said, it's on here, but they still did not do it. And all you had to do, I said, you're gonna get credit, if there is no score, it's just doing the activity, whoops. And they had to go all through, all three of the refreshers. I did find that the ones who went through this scored much better. If we go back, scored a lot better than on the quiz that they had to take. Well, I'm in on my teacher, but so that was nice. The only way though, and I know there's a way to change it for watching them view it, since I had a deadline date on it, just watching them, I had to go back in on reports and check. I said, you need to send me an email when you watched it, because you get credit for it. So I think I probably would change that next time, because I had to go back each time and look and say, oh, yep, you get credit for this. And even though it was less credit, I would like to tweak that. Is there any way we can change?
Are you talking about on the quiz
No,
itself,
not on the quiz,
or
not on the quiz, on just watching it.
on the so to see if they actually clicked on this link? You
Well,
want
I
to
mean,
know?
yeah,
You want to know who clicked on it and did
that's
it?
what I was doing,
So if you go to reports,
right? But that's what I had to do, and like.
but you could just do that one activity, and you could just say all days, and then get the log, and now you know exactly what students did it on what day.
Okay.
So I mean that. I don't know. I mean, I guess if there were tons and tons of pages of it, but is that what you're asking?
There's like not a way I think like, are you thinking you should like, if it emailed you when they watched it, you would know right away?
Yeah,
I don't think there is, it's just click a link.
yeah.
What I do with quizzes, like I'll give a due date, and then after that due date, I'll take the due date off, and anyone that does it after, I like can know that they did it after and give them less credit, but
Yeah.
I haven't found a
Okay.
way with just a link.
Yeah, that's,
Well, you know what? I could give you a possible solution.
okay.
Okay, so if here's our link that you want to go to. I'm going to turn your editing on.
Okay.
And where was it? Did I go down too far? Okay, so I'm going to add an activity, and I'm going to add a quiz. Where am I at? A quiz. I know that. Oh, I'm not my calculator. Do they get a score when they do that?
There is, you got, 6 out of 7, yeah.
Okay.
They can put their score, yeah.
So I'm going to go save and display.
On the refreshers, right?
Pardon?
On the refreshers.
Right, on the refresher. So I'm gonna add a description, and all the description is this is gonna be your link. So, I think I copied it. That wasn't that. That was Mr. Cheney's thing. Let me see if I can get the link here again. So if you take this,
Yep. Copy it. And then you put that in.
and then I'm going to add that to a quiz, and then I'm just going to add a numerical that has
Okay.
and you can say that image display no. In other words, any number they put in there between 0 and 100 is going to be correct. I said that for the error. So, because you're not really trying to,
Right.
you're not really trying to grade. You're going to give them a point. You're going to give them,
Regardless.
you're going to give them 10 points or whatever
Okay.
for doing it. So now, if they do it, if we do it this way, it's going to keep track of it for you. So if they go to this. It's going to say, hey, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go in there. Yes, I want to proceed. Oh, I didn't link it like I should. So they're going to go on the link, and they're going to go next, and they're going to put in whatever score they want to, and then they're going to get points for having done the activity.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, do you know that they actually went through it all? No, but you didn't really know that the other way. You only
No,
knew that
no,
they
I
went
just
to
knew
the
they
link.
logged on.
Right, they logged on and went to the link, which you'll know now because they can't get to the next one. I guess they could. Can they just go next?
Yeah, you can.
I guess they could just go next. Or use the lesson module, I guess, with because you could reuse that over and over and over again. I don't know. It's an idea. I don't know whether it's a great idea or not, but it's an idea of how you can at least keep track of who's been into the activity, as opposed to having to go back to the reports all that.
That was my biggest frustration, with the kids who were like, and with the tablets. It's like, I can't get on, my tablet's broken, you know, and as freshmen, they were really bad.
Yeah, and I'm worried about them next year because they've broken, half the tablets and they're
Yeah.
Talking about this year's freshman?
Yeah.
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 because they're going to get all new ones next year, the freshman and the sophomore next year, a better one.
That's about all I got.
Okay.
Well, let's just switch to science. I don't know if my other link is good. Ecology, and not moving.
Now, there's an ecology that's. Why don't we have that one hidden?
Or deleted.
All right. So I have ecology and zoology, and I ended up in the same place at the same time, which was really cool. So I tried something with ecology that I didn't with zoology, and I found that it worked out better. We were working with evolution, of course, not the complete beginning of time, but the evolution of animals. So I did a web quest, but it's not like a web quest that is, like, I can do the web quest specifically in Moodle. It's not that, it's a separate sheet of paper. But they could just click it and then have links. And they had to go to all of these links, oh dear, separately. And you read paragraphs about people, and then you have to go down on the sheet of paper, and there's different theories, and they had to write about how they felt about different things. And then they ended up having to write a letter from one scientist's perspective to the others about why they thought they were wrong or what they thought they had in common, trying to compare and contrast the ideas before we talked about it as a class. Because we had a huge frog lab, and when I did it last year, there was just a lot of confusion with the purpose of it, and so I was hoping that this would clear it up. So then they just submitted it as a document to me. So that's what I did.
So I guess, how did they submit it if it's a Word document? Did they,
So we went to the computer lab, to be honest.
okay. Well, there's nothing that says any of these things have to be on the tablet. Nothing says that at all.
Okay.
The only thing that, so did they download this and then edit
They
this?
had to type into it and then they uploaded it.
And then they uploaded it to you as an, okay.
And
You know,
what
that,
I really liked about it, not only did it fix that, was I was so sick of kids telling me that they lost their papers or that they swear they turned it in, but I lost it, which did not happen. And like if parents emailed me, I could say I clearly didn't delete them from my grade book. It's not in there as they didn't turn it in. So they clearly didn't turn something into me, and there's no way I lost what's on their computer. So that kind of explained that, which was great.
and like I said, that's, nothing says we can't do stuff in the computer labs. Just so you know, the computer labs are gonna dwindle a little bit next year because of the fact that the move's over here and the math teacher over there, so this one's completely gone all times during, well, there's still planned periods, I guess, that maybe he won't be here, but, so we're only gonna have that one in the cart next year. So I think we're gonna probably have to try a little bit more to do things on the tablets, and I think when they get the bigger tablets, that's gonna be easier. One idea to do the same thing is just to have, if you had this same document uploaded as a Google Doc and shared read-only, they can, I don't know if you've ever, they can open a Google Doc and then save it as their own, and then edit in that one and then share it back to you. So that way they can't edit your original, but they can just say, okay, I want this. Yeah, it takes, you have to teach them how to once. But it's just a way that they start with the same thing, but they could do it on their tablet that way. Whereas, you know, they don't have Word on their tablet. Does it download to Kingsoft Office or anything if they click on a Word document? Because maybe
Yes.
does it?
It
Okay.
does. Because I went through a phase where like I did this quite a bit and had them like.
Okay, so
loading
they
things.
can do it on their tablet just because it's a
But
Word.
then again, with the email thing, I don't know why they don't check their email, so I'd have to stand in front of them and be like, Mr.
Yeah.
Poole sends you something, you're supposed to click on it. And
Yeah.
so that I have to sit there and then I'll have to download something.
Well, and I mean, that's the thing with the new tablets. I don't know that I'm going to be able to push all the apps. So they may have it in their inbox that here's the apps you need to have installed. And there's going to be less apps next year too, because we're not, there's probably 6 apps that we're using in the high school. Maybe more in the middle school, but they're going to have the old tablets still, so they'll be able to push a billion apps to theirs if they want to. Because I really think Kingsoft, Cloud On, Evernote, and Google Docs is about.
My kids had no clue about that stuff. When I would say Cloud On or King, they're like, what? I can't do that on my tablet. I'm like, really? I'm pretty sure he covered that. He talked about that. So.
Well, and this summer I'm going to make more beginning intervention videos, and maybe shorter ones, so that for the first 2 weeks, it's a 10-minute video every intervention, because number one, I don't know that everybody showed them, and I don't know that everybody was here in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, if they were missing or whatever, then they didn't see that video, like the one I did on how to download YouTubes to your tablet, so that you can't say I don't have internet at home. Because I had kids in my class, I'm like, well, just download it with TubeMate. What?
Yeah.
I was like, you watched a video on that in the beginning of the year. I don't remember that, you know. And so, and they may have watched it, but haven't used it, so they don't remember. But
Let me ask you something. My wife was talking about this the other day. She's a detective for the city of Trenton, and they deal with Edgewood City Schools, and they have software that they have found on the kids' tablets that can videotape teachers, and they can edit it and voice dub pretty much, and it could make Mr. Pools look like he's saying F you to a student.
well,
Have you heard about
I will
this?
tell you that one of the reasons we didn't get tablets with cameras on the other side is so they could not covertly videotape teachers.
Yeah.
Now,
they're
if they
having
turn it
fun.
around like this,
Yeah.
and Miss Hoffman sees herself
Yeah.
on that screen, hopefully she knows she's being.
But then like when
Were
I
you
did
aware that
sleepy
software is
thing-
out there that can
Yeah,
do
there's
that?
videoing stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
they're having a huge problem with that right now. I guess the teachers at Edgewood are like pulling their hair out about it, like, because students are just thinking it's the greatest thing ever.
Well, and like I tried to do the sleepy thing, remember I worked with you about that, and the video tape themselves.
Some of those came out okay.
They went okay,
Yeah.
but like, that was like the biggest complaint is like, they like to see what they're talking about instead of holding this
Right.
and like doing it, and.
But
I was
90% of
struggling
them
a
have
little
cell phones that they could do it very easily. If they've got an iPhone or an Android phone, they could videotape it with that and then just email it to themselves, and now it's on their tablet.
bit. I ended up turning to that, but I found with like so many times of me being like, okay, it makes sense, like you can use your phone or whatnot right now because it's easier, then it's turned into, I'm just gonna use my phone, and then that's my
Oh, yeah.
struggle. Like, I just don't
On
want
the staunch, don't use your phone, use your tablet. When it's slow, it doesn't work.
And I don't
Well,
care if
I
it's
don't care,
slow,
you're using
you're
it.
gonna use it.
But I will say that 90% of the time it's slow. It's because they've added texting apps and they've added
And I
other
tell
apps.
them that, like,
Because when
all-
they leave my room, they're not slow. Mine never says wait. I have one that right next to my end
It's not
table
that
at
they're slow,
home, and I
they're
use one of those
smart.
7-inch ones all the time. And they're like, it's so slow. I'm like, no, it's not. But I haven't added anything. They don't understand when they add those junk that we didn't give them, that stuff can be running all the time in the background, and it's gonna slow it down because they aren't iPads, and that's why they cost $96.
There was another app too. Have you ever heard of Pix? It's out of Canada, and they're having a lot of problems with pornography on their tablets too at Edgewood big
Yeah,
time. So
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if you've heard of that either.
Well, and that's the same as bringing in a magazine if it's on their tablet. I mean,
They've got a lot of weird things going on.
Well, I guess this
I don't
company's
know how
this company's based out of Canada, so they can't really face. They don't have like the antitrust
Yeah.
that they can go in there and get it. Like they could something that was.
I would think they'd be able to, like, now that they have, that one kid, I don't know what state he was in, but he got the DUI for posting something on Facebook, like him doing something wrong. And they said that they just walked up to his door after they saw it and gave him the DUI. So I think now you can get into all that.
does anybody have any other questions? So you've been using it for web quests.
I've been I done a lot of quizzes. Recently I did, which I really liked. I opened a quiz, but it wasn't really a quiz, and it was chemistry. But it was a short answer, and it was, how do you feel about these 4 topics we're gonna have a quiz on? What do you think you could teach somebody else? What do you think you need help with? What grade do you think you would get if you took it right now? And so then I could go back and read all of them, and I designed my next lesson based on that, and they were in different groups based on what they had sent to me.
Is everybody mostly, now Brandon found outside content that he was using, and I would tell you on my videos, most of the kids would rather have me than somebody else because they feel like they get off task too long. But that's on my stuff because I make mine shorter, and yours was already short, but some of the ones on computer stuff are not. I mean, I just had them watch a 50-minute one the other day, and they're like, "Oh, you're killing me." But is most of the stuff you're doing your original content, but linking to outside research?
Nope, I've done a few videos that are from somebody else. I haven't done like a please go watch it at home and come in and tell me about it. Like, it's there for, like, I will have taught something, but if someone else taught the same exact thing, but maybe worded something a little bit differently, I say there's also another version of this lesson and this material. If you feel you need more help, let's say if someone teaches it with step-by-step a little bit slower, there's one of those, or someone just doing an example. That way they have places.
So
to
it's
go.
not required, but it's kind of, this is, if you're having problem with understanding molecular weight, here's some links to how to calculate molecular weight or something. And Joy, are most of yours outside stuff? Like, I mean, I know that one was, most of it's
That was
outside.
Red Cross, so it was with the test that I give, because it's a Red Cross test, but it was outside. It wasn't something I had done.
I know you two can't because it's impossible. But have you recorded any of your own stuff and posted it on your YouTube side, or, okay.
I did chemistry too.
I just don't know whether not that I'm going to take them down or anything, but I don't know whether the Bluetooth mics were accepted by most teachers, and here's a great way to record lessons. I mean, just like this, or every lesson I do, even though everybody was in class today when I was doing my lesson, I record it and post it on YouTube. Do they watch it? I don't know how many times somebody watches it. I mean, obviously, in YouTube you can look and see how many times it's been viewed, but I just think the fact that we could post all the lessons there, why wouldn't we post all the lessons there? Whether the kid's there or not, to help him figure out or review, or I know I talk fast. You know, you can watch YouTube at 3/4 time and Now I'm talking slower.
Like, I don't know if they watched it, but it was an easier way for me to be like, it's there. So either you're using it or you're not, that's your decision. By the time they get to me and they're juniors and seniors, I feel as though they should be able to make that decision on their own if they want to do that.
And now,
So I
have you
posted
used
a
any of
few-
those things as assigned things? Like if you've got a C or D on this test, you must watch these. Has anybody thought about doing that? See, I make any in my class, any student can redo a summative assessment. They have to be in my room 5 interventions restudying that material before they can retake it. But I haven't done that. But I really should think about, okay, if you want to retake it, here's a whole alternate assessment or alternate instructional path. You have to watch these 4 videos and comment on them, and then you can retake the test or something. I don't know, just a thought. I know it's hard for you guys. Is there any place we could put a projector in there to make it? I mean,
I don't know. I was teasing, but yeah, I don't know.
well, I'm.
On the back of the stage. I mean, if you had your,
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that something? I mean, I know you were teasing, but if there is a viable use for it, a way to get it in there.
Nice, yeah.
I mean-
It's a thought. Yeah.
Although, I mean, you don't have to. Both you guys could go into a classroom and
I think with the
record it
tab-
and
I
post it on
think-
YouTube
well, I
too,
think
and
with
just
the-
say, watch it on your tablet.
I think with the tablets too. I think they could probably do some stuff with the tablets and post stuff on it. So.
Well, most of the time, Mr. Cheney, when you do your teaching stuff, do you go to the lecture, or is that just when people use the gym?
What's that?
Do you go to the lecture hall, is that just when people use the gym, or is that when you?
Well, sometimes if